Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful shirt A-line dress. A shirt like A-line dress with this army like sleeve. So guys, get ready and let's start with the tutorial. So to start off, I'll first of all mark a line that will serve as my shoulder line. Exactly. So the folding of this gown, it will be much more than the hip, like depending on how wide you want it to be. It can be like 5 inches, 6 inches. For me, I just fold it with 19 inches. So this fabric is on fold with 19 inches. Then because it is a shirt dress, I'll start marking 2.5 inches to the front, just the way I'm doing. So I'm sorry, my camera is not like covering that place very well. So I'll just start marking 2 inches from the top to the down part, 2.5 inches rather, and I'll be connecting my dots, and all my horizontal measurement will be starting off from that vertical line. Sorry, all my measurement, let me just say my measurement to be starting from that very line. So the next thing I'll be doing is that I'll be placing my shoulder measurement, which is 7, and I'll be adding half inches sewing allowance. Don't forget I'm drafting directly on my fabric, so I'll be adding my sewing allowance together with it. So the next I'll be placing my horizontal measurement, yes, which is from the shoulder to the bust, from the shoulder to the waist, and from the shoulder to the hip. So what I normally do is that from my waist to the hip, I normally mark 9 inches depending on how tall the person is. So from the shoulder to the bust point is 10, shoulder to the waist is 16, and the waist to the hip is just 9 inches. So the next I'll be marking my length of the gown, which is 53. So I added 2 inches, making 55 inches. So the next I'll be drawing a straight line to mark where I'll be placing my horizontal measurements. So guys, the next thing I'll be doing is that I'll be coming down from that shoulder line by 1 inches to form my shoulder slope. I'll be marking 2.5 inches from my neck line, and I'll be connecting the line to form my shoulder slope. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. This is just a basic bodice. If you're confused or you don't understand what I'm doing here, you can go back to watch the how to draft a basic bodice pattern. I'll drop the link, and as well as how to draft a shirt as well, I'll be dropping the link in the description box. So here I'm just marking my armhole. Yes, the armhole I'm using is the length of the armhole is just 8 inches, and from that 8 inches I just draw a straight line to to serve as my chest line. So I'll be placing my bust measurement here, and the armhole line I'll be dividing in by 2, and I'll be going in by half of an inch just to form my armhole curve. So the next I'll be placing my waist measurement together with the sewing allowance, exactly the way I did for the bust. The bust measurement together with my sewing allowance, the waist together with the sewing allowance, and as well as the that allowance, and the hip as well. I'll be marking the hip measurement together with my sewing allowance. I added 1 inches, or I think 1 inch sewing allowance to my. So from the hip to the length of the gown, I'll just make a slant line. I told you this is a A-line shape gown, not a straight gown. So I'm just connecting my dots here, and from the hip I'll just be marking a slant line to connect it to the length of the gown. Okay, so I'll be placing my dart measurement here. So guys, I really don't want to be like explaining all this again. So far the video is available, so you can just go and watch the video. It's very detailed and direct, guys. So I'm just marking my dots here, guys. You can already see I'm just marking my dot, and that's where I'll be holding my dots, because it's actually a fitted, like the up part is fitted while the down part is free. So for the neckline, I'll be going down by 2 inches, and I guess that will be all for the drafting. Yes. So the next thing is to just cut out my fabric. But remember, before you cut out the neckline, ensure you fold in the 2.5 inches in front. So please ensure you fold in the 2.5 inches so as not to make any mistake. So the next thing I'll be doing is just I'll be cutting out my fabric. So guys, like I was saying earlier, this is a hairline shape gown, but the upper part is fitted, so that's why that is there. I think it's a loose gown, like it's a loose shirt gown. There will be no need for any that. So I'm just cutting it out here. So I'll be, splitting the front to make it separate. And I'm done with my front pattern. So I'll be going back to the back pattern. The only difference between the back and front is that there will be no the button allowance there. So I'll start just the way I did for the front with my shoulder. The neckline is still 2.5. I'll be connecting to form my shoulder slope. The thing is that the neck depth here for the back will be 1 inches instead of 2 inches. So I'll just be doing the same thing the way I did for the back for the front, or I'll probably be using my front to cut out my back. And don't forget, for the back pattern, the armhole doesn't have the half inches depth, so there is no need for the half inches depth the way it is for the front pattern, or for the front fabric rather. And guys, this is a silk material. It's very, like, I will not lie, it's very difficult to work with. So if you're a beginner, please, you can start with something like Ankara, because this kind of material is kind of difficult. It will just be shaking up and down, be moving up and down. So it's better you can just use Ankara or any type of others, like more strong material to start, so that you'll not be making too much mistake. Also, that it's not be difficult for you to manage. So here I'm just placing my front pattern on my back pattern without the button holes, like without the button allowance rather. So I just fold in my button allowance here, and I just place it in front. I just place it on top of my back pattern, and I'll be using the front to cut out the back, just the way I'm doing so. So basically that's all for the back as well. So the next thing I'll be doing is just that I'll be marking my 1 inches for the neckline, the neck depth, and I'll be cutting it out. So basically that's all for the back. So guys, the next thing I'll be moving to is the sewing part. So to start off, we'll start with the front. So what you'll be doing is that for the button the button allowance, you fold in half of an inch, just the way I'm doing so, and you fold the remaining allowance into 2, making it to give us 1 inches. You first of all fold in half, just the way I'm demonstrating, guys. Then you fold it into 2 again. So I'll be taking it to the sewing machine, and I'll be doing just that, and I'll as well hold in my darts for the front and back. So here guys, I've done that. I've already hold in my darts, and I've already like sew in the button allowance. So the next I will be arranging the back and the front fabrics together with the right side facing each other. just the way I'm doing so. And I will go to my sewing machine and I'll be joining the shoulder alone, just the shoulder. I'll be joining the shoulder here. So after joining the shoulder, don't forget the shirt dress is having a stand collar, so exactly that's what we want to do here. So first of all, you want to like measure the neckline, just the way I'm doing so. You just use your tape rule to measure round the neckline. So for this particular one, I think what I got was 18 inches. So that 18 inches is what I'll be using to draft out my collar stand. So I'll be using a stay, which is a visible interfacing. I'll be folding it into two, just the way I'm doing so. And my measurement, I'll be placing my measurement, which will become 18 divided by 2, which will give us 9 inches. So just the way I'm doing, I'll be, drawing a straight line to form my base, just like that. So I'll be placing the 9 inches and as well as the midpoint of my 9 inches, which is 4.5 inches, just the way I'm doing. Exactly. So I'll be placing my 9 inches and as well as the midpoint. So from the 9 inches, I'll go down by half of an inch. Don't forget, please, half of an inch, and that half of an inch, I'll be connecting it to the midpoint that I found earlier to form a slightly curved. And please ensure that there is no any sharp end. Ensure there is no any sharp end. Just make it a smooth line, so it will just be a little bit curved because of our shoulder. It's curved, not straight. So from that line, what I'll be doing next is that I'll be placing 1 inches, which is the length of my collar stand. So basically, some people might decide to use 1.5, but for me, 1 inches is just okay. I think 1 inch is just like the basic measurement. So I'll be placing the 1 inches just the way I'm doing so. And the next thing I'll be doing after that is that I'll be connecting my dots with my ruler. And please, no sharp end. Please ensure that it is curved. You can even decide to use your cuff in case you don't trust your hand or you feel like it will be sharp. So you can just decide to use your cuff. But here I don't even know where I drop my cuff here. So the next thing you'll be doing is that from that line, the new line that you just made, you'll be going in by half of an inch. That's what I'll be doing next. From that very line that you just made, you'll be going in by half of an inch. So that's what I'm doing here. And you just be connecting it like that to just form a curve. And that's all for the drafting of our collar stand. And the next thing I'll be doing is to just cut it out. So guys, I've already used my stay to cut out my fabric, but I'll just explain what I do here. So what I did was that I placed the gum side of the stay and the wrong side of the fabric, and I used my iron to to glue it together. So afterwards, I fold my fabric into two together with the stay, and I cut it out with half of an inch allowance around it. But note, this one is on fold, like it's not separate. I just fold it together. So the next thing I do was that the side of the one with stay, I just use my iron to fold in the half of an inch. So what I'll be doing is that the side that is open, I'll just be using my sewing machine to just close that side, the two side, just these two sides. So guys, if you don't understand what I did here, you can go and watch the video on how to cut and sew a collar. I will drop the link in the description box, guys. So I'll just be sewing that with my sewing machine. And here I'll be showing you how to fix the collar. So what I did was I just notched the center, the middle of my fabric, as well as the middle of my collar, the middle of my neckline, and as well as the middle of my collar, just like that. And the side without the stay, don't forget guys, the side without the stay, that side I wouldn't fold in, yeah, I'll be placing it on my collar and I'll be sewing it along the neckline. So I'm placing it on my neckline and I'll be sewing it in. So after that, the side of the side with the stay, which is the side with the stay, is the one we fold in earlier. I'll be using it to cover the wrong side, like I'll be using it to cover the half inches sewing allowance that is there. I'll just be using to cover it up to just make it neat, and I'll be doing that. I'll be running a stitch on it and I'll be sewing that. So exactly that's what I did here. You can already see that it's sitting beautifully on the neck. It's actually like beautiful and neat. So we'll be moving to the sleeve. So for my sleeve, I already cut it out guys, because I was kind of rushing on this project. I already cut out my sleeve, which is, for this part it is 60 inches long, but I'll be adding a 1.5 inches band. So I already cut that band out, which is, the wideness is 3 inches. You know, if you put 3 inches to give us 1.5, and I'll be sewing it together with the sleeve. So for that thing that I use, that they, you know, it is used to cuff, I don't know what that thing is called. I call it army shirt, yeah. I'm sorry, army sleeve. So I'll just, you know, I cut out two 7 inches by 2 inches fabric, and I'll be shaping it. The tip will be having a triangular mouth, and I'll be sewing the two sides of the fabric. I'll be doing that for the two sleeve. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying, no. And as well as the band, I'll go ahead and sew that into, and I'll be coming back. So here guys, I already, you know, sew in my band, and I've already sewed the side of the the stuff we use that make this shoulder stiff. So I'll just be turning it out here. I'll just be turning it out, and after turning it out, I'll be top stitching it just for it to sit well. So guys, you can see I've already top stitched it, like it's already top stitched, and I've already ironed it out. And my sleeve too, I've already, you know, sew the bands to it. So what I did was that from that I'll be marking 10 inches, just like that, 10 inches downward, and that's where I'll be putting my I don't know what to call that stuff. And I'll be marking 10 inches from the top of my sleeve, and I'll be dividing the breadth by 2 so as to put it at the center, just like that. And I'll be putting that stuff on that point, and I'll be sewing it triangle, like rectangular or square. I'll just be sewing it just where I use my hand to inscribe. And this is it after sewing. You can see how it's looking. So if I want to know button it, the button will be on top of the part that I showed, just that place that I was pointing at. That's where my button will be. So, you know, I'll just fold in my sleeve and I'll just button it up, so it will be looking like this, you know, army army sleeve. So the next I'll be doing is that I'll be joining my sleeves together, and I will complete my gown. No, the rest is simple. I'll just join the sleeve together and I'll be completing my gown. I'll go ahead and I'll hem the gown as well, and I'll be putting my buttonhole. I'll be fixing my button. Be doing the rest of camera, guys. I'm sure you're going to show all. And for the front of the gown, it should just be having 5 buttons. Or is it 6? I think it's 5 buttons. Just 5 buttons up to the waist. It's just from the chest, like from the neck to the waist. That's where we'll be putting our button. The rest will not be having button. So that will be all for our gown. So guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I love you guys. And guys, you can see how beautiful it is looking like. The palazzo trouser, I'll be dropping the link to the tutorial as well. Guys, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.